the reason you want Divisi is because when you're playing a chord, you want to be able to say, send the bass note to that instrument, send the, mid note to that instrument, send the there, and there, and particularly works with orchestras. So here I've got a scalar, and I'm going to pull up a Kontakt patch. Scalar is controlling that Kontakt patch. It is muted, and it is muted. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Yeah. Now, if I was going to let's come into songs, and let's go Divisi 4-part. So these are chord sets that we've done specifically to work with a 4-part multi-out. I'll explain how multi-out works in a second. But if we come into a kingdom, and let's say I bind it, and I'll go into sustain here so we can. Now, whilst that sounds nice enough within itself, the problem here is this is a string ensemble, so already the patch includes, say, 30 players. Now, when I'm throwing a 4-note chord, it's playing 120 players completely unrealistically. So what you want to be able to do is say, oh, well, there's 4 notes to that chord. Can we send them out to different areas? And now we can. So just note that this MIDI, this is done in Kontakt, but you could do this, depends on what program you're using and how you're routing. It's different everywhere, but most of the DAWs will allow you to just, Kontakt's really good because you can just specify different MIDI inputs. So is Omnisphere, so is many other software, but you can also route. Studio 1.6 is really, really good because you can just actually choose which MIDI channel you want to go to. So now if I say I'm going to mute this, and now I'm going to call in a patch, an individual patch. I might just go, let's call up the symphony series, and let's go a string ensemble, and I'm going to call up basses. Okay. And Kontakt is correctly said, oh, well, the next available MIDI channel is MIDI channel 2. That's good. In Scalar, right now we've introduced multi-out, and you can get to it by coming into preferences, and you can see we always had the MIDI channel you could specify, but now we've got something called multi-voice output, and here we just turn it on. Now you can make that the default. I haven't, because I'm still demoing Scalar, and I want people to understand that it needs to be turned on. Now, what happens is this, is that when I play a chord, so here we've got A, E, C, and G. So what will happen is, I'll just mute that new patch. What will happen is the entire chord goes to MIDI channel 1. So that first MIDI channel 1 is receiving the entire chord. That's cool because we can keep doing what we want to do. But the individual note of A goes to MIDI channel 2. The second note in the chord, which is E, you can see there on Scalar, goes to MIDI channel 3, and so forth. So C will go to MIDI channel 4, G will go to MIDI channel 5, and if you add more notes, it would go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that clear?
I believe so, yeah.
Good. So let's just see it in action so we can understand that a little bit better. So according to what I just said, the note of A there in that chord should go to MIDI channel 2. And if I mute that original string ensemble, now open the basses, which is what I just loaded, and play that chord, yeah, it's just receiving. Sorry, I'll just play it on my keyboard. Yeah, it's just receiving that first note, which is really great. So now I'm going to instrumentalize it like an orchestra, let's say. I'm going to go cello, and I'm going to pull up the Blakus cello, which is lovely. And Kontakt is automatically going to put it into MIDI channel 3. Obviously, I can change this. So now it should be receiving the E. Yeah, it is. Sorry. Yeah, great. So again, if I just keep carrying on, I'm going to introduce a viola, which would be next in line, and I might get Native Instruments' beautiful Amati viola, and If we look at the MIDI channel, it's been introduced in MIDI channel 4. So again, yeah. So we've got the note, the bass note going to the bass patch, the cello going to the second note going to the cello, the third note going to the viola, and top of the string section, the king of the strings, although I wouldn't say that that's particularly accurate, is the violin. So if I spell correctly, I think I know how to spell violin. Yeah, let's pull up, let's go Joshua Bell's violin. It's beautiful.
It's a great name.
These are solo instruments, okay? So I purposely haven't pulled in ensembles. I could have pulled in ensembles to make it sound more like the first patch, but now I've got a really intimate, yeah. It's just, I got to say, it is
It's
absolutely
amazing, David. Like what's coming through the stream right now is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenchingly beautiful. I hate to wax rhapsodic, but it really is. But it's the experimental nature. And what I really love is whilst I'm showing a very typical orchestral example, which composers will really love, this is as much about electronic music as it is classical or orchestral or scoring. And you can just use anything. Like we've pulled it into Spectrasonics and put arps and sequences and basses, and it's just mind-blowingly flexible and wonderful. Now, the 4-part Divisi chord sets are all beautiful, and I'll show you some other examples. But if we go to sad ending, you know. One of the things to note is this really is beautiful for me, and I think some of the top higher-end composers would probably really appreciate is that scalar will cut, when I'm playing chord boxes, scalar will cut one chord off from the other. It has to. We can allow multiple chords to be played, but that would be... So what that does is that doesn't allow slur legato between instruments, and some of these patches are made for that. They sound beautiful because the violins slur, they slur up in pitch. But actually holding one chord and playing the other, whilst the chord is being cut off, the patches are recognizing that I'm legatoing those and they are slurring. So it just has inadvertently worked really well. Now, you can do anything. Obviously, you can continue to add. So we could say, okay, I would actually like an ensemble for the violas, or I would like some extra woods. Okay, so here we go. Woods are right here. I'm going to pull in a wood ensemble and I'll go flutes sustain. And here come the flutes. Now it's put it up to channel 6, but I can now come in and I can say, actually, I would like the flutes playing the viola line. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 4. So now the flutes will respond to that. Yeah. So that they'll respond to that.